What am I gonna have for dinner? I see you. Don't you do it. Go on, get! Okay, people, today let's take a quick look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label Blue Beetle and Catman. No, there is no reason whatsoever to review these two figures at the same time, other than the fact that they were both announced within the past month, and I already have them in my hand. It's kind of crazy. Blue Beetle is a Target exclusive. It was announced at the end of last month, which was a month ago, technically, as I'm recording this. It's just a variant of the 2-pack version that came with Booster Gold, but I was wandering around my Target today and ba-boom, there it was. But Catman, oh, Catman. This McFarlane Toys store exclusive was revealed 2 weeks ago. Right before I headed to SDCC, I saw the pictures. I was like, oh, I gotta have that. Then I went to a McFarlane party at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was right there. It was within my grasp, and I thought, oh, I could just take it right now. But I didn't. I decided to wait. And 1 week later, it arrived in the mail. Looking at the packages, it's your standard McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse fare. Special gold label, ooh. On the side, that same black and white and light blue color scheme that's been happening since the line began. I guess I'm just now realizing that it has been very, very consistent since the beginning, several years ago. Style of figures, style of packaging. Todd finds something he likes, he's just gonna run with it. On the back, have some artwork for both characters. This doesn't seem to exactly match the design of the figure, but we're used to that. On the side, Catman Villains United, Blue Beetle, DC Classic. On the top, more window to let the light shine down. On bottom, bunch of legalese. Let's get these open. Taking a look at Blue Beetle first, because he's Fwoosh blue. Look at that. He kind of blends into the background. That and he's not Catman. I'm saving my favorite for a second. Not that there is anything wrong with Blue Beetle. In fact, I was excited to get this. I'm not so much of a Booster Gold fan, so I'm glad this got a single release. Because Veebs is such a huge Blue Beetle fan that it makes me a Blue Beetle fan, you know, just hearing him talk about it. A minute ago, I mentioned how consistent this line has been throughout the years, and I'll stick to that statement, but getting this out, I'm not sure I've reviewed any of the newer figures with the updated wrists or ankles. That's because I'm not a completist with this line. I haven't bought a lot lately. I stick to the characters that are most important to me. You know, like Zurinar Batman, and this is the older style wrist joint where it's kind of a ball. Well, okay, it's a swivel hinge swivel, what it is, but it's very ball shaped. It's noticeable. It breaks the silhouette. Same thing with the ankles. You'd have the boot coming down and then smooth and shiny in the middle, and then back to boot. This does have the luxury of being a classic costume. It's not leather boots, there's no texture to it, there's no laces, but the way the ankles are set up now, it's a half and half joint. It's still a swivel and a hinge, but they shaped the joints themselves to not break up the lines. It just looks a lot nicer. Wrists are a little bit rougher. It still kicks in and then pops back out for the hand, but again, it's not smooth plastic. It continues the form of the arm for the most part. In fact, wait a second, am I doing something wrong here? Oh, it's on the inside. I guess because that's where the pin is visible. Oh, and it's the same with the ankle. Okay, I get it now. McFarlane also does the rubber crotch cover thing, and sometimes it's noticeable. It's very diaper-like, it bulges out, but here, I don't mind it at all. Again, it sticks with the lines, and it hides the articulation. Another thing about McFarlane toys are they're very leggy, but that's the style. You put about 100 of these side by side, and it'll look good together. Another reason I like this Blue Beetle over the first version from the 2-pack is the color scheme and the design. You can see that the costume lines are different, the logo type situation happening up here at the shoulders. But I also like the brighter colors, and I like that the trunks don't have the lines down here. It calls less attention to that crotch cover. The boot lines are sculpted in, not so much for the gloves, that's just painted on. The shoulder inserts get a little loosey-goosey, but I like how they follow the movement around and keeps it from gapping up. I had to get up close to notice a little shading to the face and then some lip color. But more than that, the bottom of the lenses have some reflection to it. Like it's been painted on to give it a glass-like quality. I wish it was clear where you could see the eyes like on the package art and the card art, which we'll get to in a minute, but this works too. It does have the top abs sculpted here, which I didn't like with the original Batman figure. Here it's not as noticeable. I guess because of less gap, it's been engineered better or something. It's smooth. I do notice a black smear right there. That's not part of the actual costume. It's just extra paint hit. But speaking of articulation, there seems to be, I think, a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck that goes up and down. So much tilt! Look side to side, watching out for Max Lord. Dumbbell joint at the shoulder goes back and forward and up and down. That allows for rotation all the way around, and then a hinge on the end of it goes up to there. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow. Oh, all the way. There is a swivel and a hinge and then a swivel at the hand. Out of the package, it is set to swing vertically, but again, you can turn that, and make it swing horizontally. Dumbbell in the midsection, crunches forward, arcs back, some tilt, rotation. Then there's a ball joint at the waist that allows for even more crunch and more arc and more tilt and more tilt and more rotation. Hip assembly allows for this because this is rubbery, gets out of the way, goes back, goes all the way out. Look at that, better than a lot of Spider-Mans. A lot of thigh rotation on that assembly, all hidden in there. I guess it has been a while since I've reviewed a McFarlane figure because back in the day, it was just boop, 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 boop. Now it's whoop, 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 whoop. Double knee, oh, most of the way, muscles run into each other. Swivel at the ankle, goes side to side, hinges back, hinges forward, front facing pin for rocker. Toe joint goes way further than a toe is supposed to go. For accessories, there's your standard McFarlane disc stand, has a peg, has the DC logo right there. Here's Ted's file card with some nice artwork on the front, and then on the back there is a bio, some history, data file, whatever. Out of the package, Blue Beetle has a left trigger finger and a right fist. Then there's a left flat palm and a right pointer, and then finally a pair of splayed out hands. Includes the same gun the 2-pack Beetle has with silver, then out to a scarab. Then there's this brand new blue metallic scarab. Ooh, look at that, not bad at all. Well, he's kind of blending still. Blue. Come on, you know you want to go outside and play. Not even for just a minute? You need the exercise? Come on, you know you wanna. Come on. Well, fine then. Have it your way. But then there's Catman, one of my favorite DC characters ever. I don't know what it was about Thomas Blake, but Villains United was my stepping stone into the DC universe after being a Marvel zombie for all of my life. Here was this cat-themed Batman knockoff type character that I absolutely fell in love with. So I stuck with him through Villains United, especially through Secret 6, because oh man, that's one of my favorite comic book series ever. I just went over all the technical aspects of a DC Multiverse figure with Blue Beetle, and it's essentially the same for Catman. You got that nifty half and half joint for the wrist that helps, I mean, hell, they even put a wrinkle right there. It helps blend it in as a whole. You can see the cuts. That's just plastic though. I mean, that's a toy. That's an action figure. I really like this new design. Well, it's not a new design. It's just, you know, my first foray, my first in-depth look at them. Same thing with the boots. Wrinkle out here on the outside. Top of the boot is sculpted on, and yes, this body is reuse of Nightfall Batman, but I don't have Nightfall Batman. Catman is my first experience with that body. But then the Catman parts are just straight up Catman parts. Look at the brutal ass claws, and much better. Remember on the Mattel version where it was an open grip and you had to put them in the hand and they hung down really far? No. These are snug as a bug right against the fist. Well, because it's part of the sculpt. It's integrated into the hand, but this is so much better. Got your very specific Catman belt with the diamond in the middle, pouches on each side. There's actually loops to hold the knives, which we'll get to in accessories, but it's a neat thing being able to put most of the optional parts on the figure. Have the straps going around the shoulders, around to the back. I don't know if that's a separate piece, but it is glued down. They do not move. Then there's Catman's head. Kind of like Batman, I wish it didn't kick into the neck like this. I wish it went down a little bit more, but still, look at that. You got the points coming down on the cheeks, you got the cat ears up on top. I'm not usually one for gritting teeth, but Thomas is an angry guy. Little pale, wish it had a 5 o'clock shadow, but that's just kind of my preference when I think of Blake. The thing that surprises me is the cape. Right off the bat, it is not wired, so you're not going to get into action poses, billowing in the wind, swooping down from rooftops. For a cape that's just hanging off the back, it drapes and lays so naturally. It almost has a heft to it. It's hard to mess it up. Well, okay, it does tend to stick up on the shoulders whenever you just have it laying like that. But you can take it and fold it in, and oh, it looks so good. Throw it over the shoulder like a good little soldier. It does puff up right there. But I don't think of Catman as using it like that, you know, like, oh, I'm hiding in the shadows. He doesn't give a shit. He's just coming out and attacking. It doesn't matter what you do. Pop it down. It is display ready. Up close, it does have a texture to it, almost like a paper towel, I guess. But then it has a smoother, shinier sheen on the back. Articulation seems a little redundant after doing Blue Beetle, but I gotta do it again. There's a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck, allows for some nice up and then some down. So much tilt. Side to side, dumbbell joint at the shoulder with a cap hiding the articulation. Down, up, forward, back. Arm swivels around and then hinges out to there. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow, even with the glove cuff, all the way up. Swivel at the top of the wrist, hinge in between, swivel at the hand. Dumbbell mid-torso, ball at the waist, crunches to there, arcs to way back. There's some tilt, rotation. Again, all kinds of articulation at the hips, hidden by the trunks. Forward and back and all the way out. Swivel at the thigh, double knee up to there. Rotation at the ankle, then hinges back, forward, front-facing pin, and a toe joint that goes to there. For accessories, there are 2 shiny knives, and I love that it comes with these. In the comics, sometimes it was the claws, sometimes he would just go at people with knives. And again, back here, slide these into there and there. And I like that they're visible from the front. That's even more intimidating. But there's also grips, so he can actually use the knives. I don't think I showed this with Beetle, but there is a nice mushroom peg on there. Pop it off. Pop the other one on, done. Ooh, Catman, looking good. Another disc stand, DC, and then the file card with the Villains United artwork on the front and a bio on the back. Cord stands slightly under 7 inches, and then Blake is about 7 1/8, which runs smaller than my favorite Batman, Zur-En-Arrh, but again, I'm waiting on the Nightfall Batman. That'll probably be my shelf display Batman. But I'm still rocking the very first Superman from way back with a Rebel 10 Customs cape. Bane in Secret 6 wasn't doing any venom juicing, so he wasn't this large, and the Mattel King Shark doesn't quite capture that look from the Secret 6 comics, but I don't know. I'm getting antsy for more members. But don't forget, these are 7-inch figures. They're not going to fit in with your DC Universe classics. But my Catman collection grows. Catman, what are you doing? Bad kitty! So at the end of the day, I keep giving me DC Multiverse like this, and I'll keep buying it. Not gonna lie, Catman caught me off guard. It was kind of out of left field. I'll always root for the character whenever there's a DC line, but it's only ever happened once, that I can remember anyway. So I was just bebopping along, admiring DC Multiverse from afar. Oh, I like that character, and that Blue Beetle's kind of neat, but I don't need a 2-pack with Booster. But you throw in Catman, and that's a whole different ballgame. I gotta get Catman. Therefore, I need characters to surround them, to go on a display with them. And if I am gonna buy more, I'm gonna keep to the classics. Pretty much the blank bodies with just designs on them. But that's how comic books were back when I was reading them. There's nothing wrong with modern DC figures. That almost seems like McFarlane's bread and butter because of all the spikes and the detail and the textures and teeth and blood and everything. But my heart lives back when I was reading comics. You throw some spandex on a character, even when they're supposed to be badass, like Catman. Just looking at this design and thinking of the name Catman, you don't think badass. But you read the comics, and he was a badass. So I like getting that in plastic form. I like the nostalgia of it. I like getting characters that are near and dear. So if I am going to keep buying this, that's what I'm sticking with. Like most toy lines I'm buying these days, I'm just sticking to the ones that hit me right here. And that's what Catman did. Oh, I can't tell you how happy I am right now. So by association, Blue Beetle did the same thing because it's just a nice classic design in beautiful blues. I can't help it. I have a type.